Okay. I'm just gonna say it right here. Snape shouldn't be black. Now, does that mean he can't be black? And the producers and J.K. Rowling do whatever they want with the characters? Yes, that's all well and good. They can. But you know, that's why I wanted to make this video here. There has been a lack of sticking to source material in a ton of things. The Witcher, you know, video games, etc., etc. I mean, the list goes on, but I just don't have them off the top of my head. I'm not going to hold you. But Black Snape, there's a number of things that I want to say why this is wrong that you've probably heard. But first, I have a long list of videos that I've stockpiled before I made this video to show you guys, and like a couple special shout outs. So I'm going to show those first, and then I'm going to get into me talking about Black Snape. My girlfriend also wants me to channel her rage into me, like, share, give me your energy, spirit bomb, to make this video. And a funny thing with her is going to come to a point that I end up making. So I got to gather my thoughts for this, because this video has literally taken me like 5 days to muster up the energy to shoot, because I was just like, how do I go about it? But you know what? There is no right or wrong way. There's just going about it, getting it done, and letting what resonates with people, and what doesn't. Either way, this is just my feelings. So if you like it or don't like it, well, you're entitled to that. Anyways, thank you for tapping into the frequency. I just got done working out, so I'm tired, but I was pumping myself up to shoot this. So let's hop in. There's nothing else to be said.
Rumor has it that HBO may be replacing the black actor that they chose to play Severus Snape in the Harry Potter series. I'm sorry that somebody may be losing their job, but the truth is, it was just a bad casting choice, to be honest. I'm not saying anything against the actor. He probably would have done a great job. The problem is how the racial stereotypes would have played out. See, the Harry Potter books, they were very detailed. They talked about Snape's past in the end, and I'm telling you now, the racial thing would not have flown. Let's start off by talking about how James Potter and Sirius Black treated Severus while he was in school. As the story is written, it's not really a problem, it's just showing about bullying. But if you change Snape to a black character, now it looks like they're picking on a guy because he's black. All they said constantly was he was just different. Let's also talk about when Harry Potter arrived to Hogwarts. He openly said, I don't know what it is about Snape, but I just don't like him. I get a weird feeling about him. As a white actor, you don't really see this issue. But putting him as a black guy, you already know you're going to be thinking, And we can't forget about the complicated relationship between Lily, Harry's mother, and Severus Snape. They had a friendship / really deep trust for each other, but Lily never gave him a chance by dating him. Putting Severus Snape as a black actor makes you think, why didn't Lily give him a chance? Was Harry Potter's grandmother and grandfather racist? It just makes you start thinking other reasons. And it doesn't just change the story on how you look at white people treating black people, it also works in reverse. Severus Snape is extremely hard on Harry Potter. So now the look that you're giving is, this black teacher is always on the white chosen guy. I'm not upset at HBO trying to make sure that everybody is represented in a story. But this was not one of those times that it was needed. There's plenty of black representation in this story. Ginny Weasley dates a black student, and nobody cares. Not Ron, not Ron's parents. It's never even brought up. And again, I'm always going to give props to Kingsley Shacklebolt, because this dude right here was just amazing. Did I pronounce that name right? But that's just my take on it. Let me know in the comment section what you think.
I'm sorry, but this is working for me. This is Harry Potter. And look at the 90s clothing and everything. This is Harry Potter. This is book accurate Harry Potter.
This is post-edit Rel jumping in here to say, I added this guy's clip because I just thought it was funny, highlighting where he said, by the way, all love, no disrespect. I just thought it was funny where he's like, whether you like it or not, it's going to be good. And I was like, yeah, man. Talk about book accurate Snape then. Nonetheless, yeah, anyone saying like that it wouldn't be good if, you know, whatever his name is, Papa Saidu plays Snape, it probably would go fine because he's a good actor, but if we're remaining book accurate. Now, anyways, another thing that I wanted to mention that I did not get to mention, and also why it delayed this video, is because I wanted to speak about this on a, you'll see when you watch the rest of the video, on a more general basis and not keep it all the way Harry Potter. You'll see. But one thing that my girlfriend told me that was also she wanted me to mention in the video is the Death Eater's origins. So then I was like, oh man, it looks even worse if Snape is black, because the Death Eaters were pretty much for the purity of their own race. Yeah, they didn't like mudbloods. They thought they should be annihilated. Putting that in my own words, but yeah, essentially they didn't. And I'm pretty sure in the books it's pretty dark, but she told me that was like one of the main goals of Voldemort. He did just pure bloods only. And I'm like, and now you have a black Snape who was a Death Eater. Not a good look. Not a good look. So I thought I'd throw that in here. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video.
Black guy who just got casted to play Snape in the new Harry Potter TV show. Did you hear about it?
I heard about it.
I kind of think it's a bad idea, but hear me out. Hear me out. What do we know about Snape and Harry Potter's relationship, and why is this going to go bad?
Ooh.
Harry doesn't trust Snape for some reason, and he can't figure out why.
Yeah, it only works if Harry's black too.
Yeah, it's going to be very awkward, and Harry walks in and sees the one black teacher at Hogwarts and goes, I don't know what it is about him. I just can't trust him, you know? You know what? I bet you he's the guy who stole the Sorcerer's Stone.
This guy, I just came across him, so I got to give him a little bit of a shout out. Right here, Kada. I don't know. I just want to make sure I'm not pronouncing it wrong. But right there, race swapping characters is unacceptable. Shout out to all these creators, by the way. And also special shout out to Kada. I don't know if I ended up putting your video in here, brother. But if not, go watch Kada's video on Black Snape, because he has a point that I really, really like that I'm going to sort of expand upon in a different way. But there were also these guys that I tried to find their video so I could link it below. Also, I may not have the links for these videos, so just the credit goes to the creators of these videos, and it should be their little Instagram. But I share a lot of the same sentiments for turning Snape black. I mean, you guys watch the videos of the other creators handling it, so you could probably click off this video. But I'm going to be saying some of the same stuff. Let's just talk about it, because it's so wild. It's like this character, right? I didn't read the source material, but this character is very obviously described white. And I think it was Nerdrotic or whatever his channel is. I watched his video on it. He pulled up the source material too. I don't know. I forgot if he read the books himself. But one point I wanted to bring up for my partner was I told her, see, you're getting on me for all this stuff happening in gaming. And you're like, why does it matter? What is it? And like, what's going on? Because I introduced her to this whole thing of like DEI and blah, blah, blah happening, where it's the more toxic extreme side of it, not that the whole concept of DEI is bad in general, which I want to make that point. Diversity, equity, inclusion, all of that is all well and good. But the actual people who pushed the agenda forward didn't have the best intentions. It was more about push out than inclusion, because Papa Saidu, I don't know if it's a DEI hire or whatever it was with him, but here's coming from a melanated man, which is also why my girlfriend was like, you got to do this video. It's coming from me saying, I do not feel represented when Snape is turned black. There you go. Do you hear it? A sensible individual. I'm in the middle. You can consider me moderate. I stay out of politics. I don't really care for the left or the right. I just care about people being able to live the way they want to live. So listen to me when I say that is not representation I want, especially when I'm pretty sure James Potter in the movie, they hung Snape on a tree. I can't remember. I may be remembering it wrong. Maybe they just flipped him up in the air with Leviosa and flipped him around and bullied him. But it was still a group of white kids bullying a black Snape now. How were they sitting in the boardroom like, this is a great idea? Like, no, And again, yes, it has nothing to do with the actor. And I've seen other creators say this as well. He still did choose the role, though. If they brought it to him and like, hey, we want you to play this character, and maybe he had no prior knowledge. See, those are the things I also want people to remember about like having internet literacy or media literacy. We don't know the full thing of what goes on behind the scenes with these contracts or whatever. Or maybe you're someone who's closer in the industry that does have those ties. But I do also know, you do have free will to choose. So who knows if he did or did not know that Snape was black. I mean, I barely knew about Harry Potter, and it was hard to avoid. It's like, I would stumble across Snape, but it is very understandable if, someone doesn't know who Snape was. So maybe he's just like, okay, I'll play the character. Then maybe he found out about the backlash after it was announced. Who knows? So just giving that benefit of the doubt and throwing that out there, because you never know what's truly going on behind the scenes. But still, that it got approved, or however it went forward, where it was like, yes, it's going to be Papa Asaidu. It's like, what? Asaidu. Sorry if I pronounce his name wrong, or your name if you're watching it. I don't know if he'll ever see this. But again, it's just like, that is a clear example of like, DEI gone wrong. And I know people want to say like, oh, people who talk about DEI don't really understand what it means. Okay, well, let's do this. A simple Google search, ladies and gentlemen, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which are strategies aimed at creating a workplace or environment where a variety of people are present, supported, and valued. Diversity refers to the presence of differences. Equity involves fair distribution of resources to address the systematic disadvantages. And inclusion means actively creating a culture where everyone feels welcome and can fully participate. Organizations implement DEI initiatives to foster a more inclusive culture and environment and broaden their reach. Now, again, when you get someone who's either very far right extremist or far left, yeah, they're going to take this meaning of DEI and stretch it so far to where it looks like they haven't researched anything a day in their life. But that's not what we're talking about. It's coming from a sensible individual. That is literally DEI. Now, we don't know if it's a DEI hire. You don't know if you have evidence. But also, come on, use your critical thinking skills and also use context clues. Snape is very clearly described as white in the book. So we cast a black actor? Come on. Like, now we're just getting into some like cognitive dissonance weird shit where we're like just trying to ignore what the elephant very in front of, like, elephant in the room, man. And then it just makes me think about this. Tokenism, the practice of making only a perfunctory or symbolic effort to do a particular thing, especially by recruiting a small number of people from an underrepresented groups in order to give the appearance of sexual or racial equality within a workforce. These are actors. They're in the workforce of the movie industry. Tokenism, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not making any 100% clear, like, standing on statements, but what I'm telling you is you can't pull the wool over people's eyes who are just aware and based. Can't even say woke anymore because woke was taken and twisted to something that wasn't even what woke meant. It never had anything to do with LGBT or any of that. Woke was literally like having a conscious awakening to realizing the left and the right and the the government conspiracies that are now being proven true. Like, that's what woke meant. I don't hear a lot of creators talk about that. I definitely wanted to be one to continue to push that. Yeah, if you're someone who says, yeah, that's not even originally what woke meant, say the origin, because the origin was what it was when somebody like calls you based now. Because I got called based in my videos back in the day and I was like, ooh, based? I never heard that. I love that. But yeah, I don't think they'll ever take based and twist it around. But woke, man, the woke was literally engineered to be turned into what it is turned into now, because woke used to mean you were aware of the like trickery from corporations and everything going on. You were aware, you were woke, you were awakened from the sleep. So I can't say you're woke if you understand that Black Snape just shouldn't be a thing happening anymore, because woke is now associated with politics and it never was before. But anyways, that little rant out of the way. There you go, my love. If you're watching, I'm crashing out. Here you go. I'm not really conducting myself in the best put together manner because it's hard. I mean, seeing this stuff over and over, and especially, where a lot of these feelings are also coming from, Dragon Age Veilguard. If you guys are familiar with what happened with Dragon Age Veilguard, it's like There was never once a problem with, you know, gay or trans characters if they're in the game. Hell yeah, more power to them. But write a character where it's not going to be their whole identity, which shout out to the YouTuber Kada. I'll leave a link to his video down below. But where in his video, he said this, when you think of Storm, I actually brought this up to someone in my community. I brought this up to her and I had to show her a picture of this too. But I said, do you know who Storm is? She instantly went, yes. This is a point that Kada brought up in his video. When you think of Storm from Marvel, do you say the Black Storm? No, you don't. And you're lying if you do. You say Storm. Now, if they took Storm and they made Storm Margot Robbie or something, Margot Robbie, you'd be like, oh, we got White Storm now. They would never do that. They would never do that. So, you know, it makes you think. It's like, what makes Storm, or just like, long story short, good character writing. And this is where I want to expand on it. I did a video, I think on the channel, it might not be here anymore. I will redo it if I ever feel inspired to, where I talked about certain characters in media that I've always resonated with. And here's the thing about resonating with a character. You're not resonating with their skin tone. That's what I'm saying. Why does everything have to be about skin color, this, that? If real DEI would be the inclusion of humans being authentically themselves, not having to, you wouldn't have to seek validation outside of yourself. Now, I understand if you're in a position to feel the way you feel about certain things and the heinous acts that have been done to people of certain groups, right? But the way moving forward, especially in today's climate, and to actually unite people is to get out of the war of left versus right and this versus that. That is literally what's keeping people asleep. Or if you're an individual who has strong feelings on it, that is what's keeping you asleep. Because I have never played a game, never, like I'm being so serious. I swear on my life, where the character, if the character didn't look like me, like when I played Dante, Devil May Cry, I was never like, oh, it'd be cool if Dante was black. No, I resonated with his sarcastic wit in that, because that's how I grew up. Jack and Daxter's another one. I resonated with Jack so hard. There's just a list of characters that I can pull from. You know, we can't really say like Crash Bandicoot, but like Nathan Drake, you know, I resonated with Laura Croft from Tomb Raider. We got to get the women bosses. We got to get the female bosses out here. We got to get the women, the powerful women bosses. But so serious. Like, it doesn't matter if it's a well-written character. I believe anyone can resonate with the character. Like, everyone loved Bayonetta, but that's going to get into a whole nother discussion about another thing that this whole stuff happening in gaming with the Gooner game argument and everything. But like, oh, that's what it feels like. If I had a literal like conspiracy thumbtack and threadboard, I would show you how like it goes from fucking BlackRock to this to that to the censorship in gaming to this to there's not even real gamers that are making these games and they're fooling the people who actually want to be a part of the inclusivity. Just like it's a whole clusterfuck of crazy mind manipulation tactics. It's insane. Like, I got a comment on my video, don't hype up the real fake wizard, bro. This is a Charlie Kirk lover. What the fuck does that have to do with gaming? Like, realistically, my brother, like, and that's what I'm saying about this shit when it comes to Black Snape. It just brings up the same feelings of all this dumb shit that's happening. It's like, do y'all not see what is going on? Please, like, please. Claritin Clear and some eye drops to beat the allergies of this shit. Like, oh man, I'm trying to stay composed. This is probably one of the biggest crash out videos I've had among my whole channel, but I'm so serious. I don't understand how people are like almost pacified to what is going on. It is very really happening in front of your face. And now, granted, it's gotten better because you know who is in office. Do I agree with what this dude does and everything? No, I don't go into politics fully, but you know, it's we're either getting the extreme right or the extreme left. So it's either conservative, you know, it's like a pick your poison thing. But at least a lot of the censorship is getting canceled. And, you know, if you look at the game charts and in certain games that have not the ones that are like still sold millions or whatever, but you think about Forspoken and the certain games that have flopped, like, you know, it's like because of it now being extremely right, this stuff really can't exist in this environment, but it wouldn't have anyways, because it's not about right or left, man. Coming from a gamer's perspective, it's about good video games. What is that so fucking hard for motherfuckers to understand? It's about good video games. Give me a fucking main character. Funny enough, technically the Baldur's Gate character, like your character, it's freedom of choice. So you technically are you're bisexual. It's fine. Let me, you know, okay, I was going to get very vulgar with, let me not. I was going to say some crazy stuff about getting on Astarion's lap. Let's just say that for Christmas. But let me compose myself because I'm not trying to go viral for saying some wild shit right now. But that's all good. Like, you know, Asterion was sexy, coming off flirty and stuff. It's what it is. Like, and none of it was annoying. The only thing that came from Baldur's Gate being slightly odd, though, was, you know, how fucking extremely horny every character was in the beginning of Baldur's Gate until they did their patch. but nonetheless, I knew it was there. Asterion came on to me. I still chose Shadowheart. You know me, my good girl Shadowheart. Oh, I'm gonna get killed. Anyways, long story short, also Dragon Age Inquisition, a character that I can think of, and I know this is about Black Snape, but it's just Dorian. I think Dorian was one of the best well-written gay characters, and it's like, just don't make their whole identity about this one aspect of them. Like, make them have some fucking depth. Like, anyways, I digress. Back to the Black Snape stuff. It's like, again, dude, it's like these other creators said. I mean, you know, is it Lily Potter? That's her name. See, I'm not really an entire Potterhead, so I don't know the lore too well. But based on, you can tell based on how the conversation just went for this video. But really look at that. Like, you know, imagine Black Snape and how he was acting towards Potter in the book series, but in the movies, it's going to be a little white child, and how Harry was, there's just something off about this guy, and just, and then it's a black teacher bullying and he's a Death Eater. Oh, it's just so much. It's just so much where it's just, how did this make it past? Like, how was this greenlit in the fucking boardroom, bro? Like, what are they thinking? And also something that, the woman in my community, I'm gonna just call her L, like we're in Death Note, but I'm gonna call her L because it's easier. L laughed, and we came to this. She brought it to my attention first, but I was already thinking it, so we were like, great minds think alike. Where she was like, this could be a really good marketing stunt, and that's the thing I thought of too. You know, if these bigger corporations or music industry, Hollywood, whatever, understand publicity and the whole thing of, like, you know, any publicity is good publicity, negative or positive. It's like, maybe they release this statement where it's like, oh, Papa Asaidu is playing Snape. Snape's going to be black, like Black Snape. But they didn't say like Black Snape. They just said who's going to be casted as Snape. And then they knew the internet would be in an uproar. They knew because, again, let's get a little bit of spirituality in here. This whole world is based on energy, frequency, and vibration. So that you know that the Harry Potter as a series exists in the hearts and minds of so many people. So how do you do a big energy harvest or get a lot of buzz going? You alter something that you know would get the fans riled up. Boom. And now you got perfect marketing because you got everybody and their son making a video about it. You know, but so good on them if this was a strategy. Hey, nice job. Because, again, referring back to, I don't know if I showed the videos in order, but the guy who said he's hearing that there was a recasting happening now. I mean, well, then, well done by them if it was intentional. But if it was like a serious casting, then I don't know. But again, yeah, if it was a marketing stunt or a way to just raise like hype about the show, which I don't think you really need to do, because a lot of Harry Potter, like deep Harry Potter fans and regular Harry Potter fans would want the, would want more from Harry Potter and the whole universe. And man, what I learned through the games that, there's a whole magic school of, like, it's in Africa. I forgot what the name of it is, where they cast without wands and everything. I was like, yes, give me that, please. I want more of that. I want to explore the other schools and stuff. But it would be awesome. And then it's like that. Bring Papa Asaidu around for a character that maybe comes from that school. Like, write him in, because the show is going to delve deeper into the lore, right? So, it's like, what do they need? Like, they need us in the boardrooms. Like, I'm not even joking. Someone who's not even a Harry Potter fan can see where I bet some of the fans would want to expand on certain parts of the lore. Like, it's like, don't change major things. And that's where I get to the point where, I put my little tinfoil hat on and just think it has to be some sort of setup where why this gained a lot of buzz. Because why else would they do that? There's no way somebody sat there and said, this is a great decision. And yes, there is way, because, people like that exist. And I'm not saying they're terrible writers or anything. It's just weird when you say we're going to, like, I don't know if there were any statements made that it was going to stick to the roots of Harry Potter or stick to the books or, but again, just for the honoring of the fans who also, when you provide something that resonates with a lot of people, you kind of owe it to them and to honor that, honor the source material. So it's like, even if you can make a bunch of arguments for, an author or whatever could do whatever the hell they want. Yes. And yes, but you're also the people who watch your thing built, you as well. So it's like, your story could have flopped without the people. So it's kind of like you owe it to fans of the series not to do shit like this. And again, why I was getting into that whole left versus right thing is I seen people say that, hey, he's not a bad actor and everything. And it's yeah, he'd probably, I'm not even going to hold you. I don't know. I've seen him in other roles. He's amazing, right? I think he played no, that's something else. But I have seen him in other things that I like his acting. I got to think about what he's in where I very clearly am like, yeah, he was fire in that. But there is something where he's in that I've watched him in. He's a good actor. I don't know too much about him, and he'd probably nail the role of Snape. Like, no lie, he's a good actor. But again, this is a point that Kada made in his video, and I love it. That it was you're I don't want to spoil it actually, but I'll just say it like this. Why would you take a really good actor and then almost waste his potential on a role that is like it's not aligned with him almost, and I'm sure because he's talented and can adapt, he would make the role his, but it's just, it's like, what? And then anyways, long story short, yeah, this whole conversation isn't about whether he'd be good or bad as Snape. It's just the fact that he's not Snape. Why? I don't know why people try to do like mental gymnastics like that. Like, it's cognitive dissonance. To summarize cognitive dissonance really quickly, because it's a thing I always think of because it's like the definition when you look up. It's like, smoking is bad for you, but you say to yourself, okay, I know I need to quit, but what's one more cigarette? So it's like, yeah, I know we should stay to the source material. Snape is white, but let's just make him black. And then it's like the people defending it. I mean, I know Snape is canonically black, or canonically black. Whoops, Freudian slip. Or was that technically a Freudian slip? I don't know. Sorry, it's just all of this stuff because I'm ranting. But Snape's canonically white, but a black actor could play him. I mean, why not? Why not? It's like, he should be, but why not? It's not a problem. And it's like, it's cognitive dissonance, because it's like, yes, you're right. Why not? Because they can choose whatever the fuck they want. But also kind of like, because you have fans expecting you have expectations. What else can I say? Do I have to really go in depth and try to really articulate that? No, it's simple. You have expectations. Now, to wrap up the video and end it, because I'll be here all day rambling and ranting, is yes, this is something that has been plaguing everything. Media, movies, series, TV shows, games, original IPs. It's like, what the fuck is happening, man? No, I'm not going to be in that reality no longer. And I want to say this to y'all because I've been doing it. I did not buy Borderlands 4 because of Randy Pitchford's comments. I'm just like, it feels bad. I'll buy it when it's like $5. Seriously, I did not spend my money on it. I'm about to buy Ark Raiders, the new game, but I can't. And I grew up with Borderlands, but it just feels like it's like coming to a point where some of these companies are out of touch. And I even said it with Black Ops, man, and Call of Duty, how they release the same game every year. This is not a war. I don't want to say it so dramatic, but it is a like continuous allowing of like parasitic behavior from these companies to understand you're going to buy our game anyways. It's like an insult to your intelligence. And if you're someone that goes, yeah, they're damn right. It's like, you don't look in the mirror and feel odd about that. Like, yeah, we're going to kick your ass and you're going to like it. You're like, yes, daddy. What? What are y'all doing? Like, no, don't support this stuff. Support the indie game developers are kicking ass right now. But you know what I'm saying? I went and got Silksong over Borderlands 4, which my review is coming. But you see what I'm saying? Like, this shit was plaguing everything. But I honestly don't pay attention to it too much because, again, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of getting too emotionally invested, because what you pay attention to and aware of, it creates your reality. You know, you begin to magnetize it. So I'm not gonna pay attention to it. But you know, something as big in the collective as like Harry Potter, that's why I chose to speak about it. And man, there's some other Twitch stuff too, man. There's just a whole lot of things going on, man. But at the end of the day, Snape shouldn't be black. And that's just it. Like, it doesn't, as a black dude, I don't feel represented. I loved, what's his name? Who's the main actor? I got to do him justice because I think he passed away. So got to give him his flowers right now. Yes, Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman. Rest in peace. You played a really good character. You gave such a softer take to Snape, because in the books, apparently Snape was much more of a menace. But yeah, just because I man, when I first watched the movies, and I'm literally getting chills on my arms right now. Look at the goosebumps. I can't see if you guys can tell, but I'm getting chills because it's just like when I seen his performance as Snape and how you can still very feel the hatred for, at least, you know, Potter's father, but he made it feel like Snape cared about him. And I liked the twist from someone who did not read the books. And again, I understand I just want to end the video like this because I know, no, let me not be aware of it, because I'll end up manifesting it and it'll probably still happen because it's just the nature of the internet and the collective consciousness. Got to have polarity. But let me just clarify this. I don't think there's anything bad with Papa Seydu, whatever, you know, like as an actor, just he's not Snape. Next thing. I get it. Like, I'm not somebody who's so like, you got to stick to the source material 100%. No, but you got to at least stay close to it to honor the fans and honor the source material, right? There's a balance to these things, 6, 7. But you know what I'm saying? I'm so sorry. But you know what I'm saying? And that's what gets to me. And it feels like instead of these like writers or whoever really rolls this stuff out, finding a balance, they're just like, fuck you. You don't get to enjoy what you loved as a youngin', as a young adult, as a kid, whatever. No, screw all that. I'm going to inject what I want to into the story now. It's odd. And, you know, and for Black Snape, it's a little bit different because J.K. Rowling has her hand in everything she does. But still, I'm pretty sure if you look it up, she had a hand in choosing the cast. So I don't know. They can do whatever they want. I say emotionally remove yourself from this stuff. Try not to focus on it. And when things are bad or things are very clearly showing signs of going to have some weird injected agendas or things like that, boycott it. Don't care. Boycott it. Don't get in fights with each other. Just boycott it. Or, I don't know, like make videos, create like this, be inspired to create like this and voice. Even if you feel like you have a small voice, you never know if your video can take off. Maybe you're someone who comes with a unique perspective to speak on this. Do it. Be inspired to do it. And you could be the right voice that shifts the whole industry or us as a collective. I don't know. But I'm glad that this stuff seems like it's on its way out with all of this stuff, because over here, on my side, everyone's included. And again, write good characters. Like, I will play I will play a character that's struggling with their identity in this world. Give me or anything. But just write a good character. That's all it is. That's all it takes. I never looked at a character and needed the character to be black to feel like I was one with the character. man, like one thing I think of is American Dragon, Jake Long, or characters like that from cartoons. It's like, I loved Beast Boy. I loved Robin. I loved Batman. Like Cyborg was cool because it's cool to see a black dude, and he's a cool character and had, you know, I think Kerry Payton is his name, who voice act Cyborg in the series. He was awesome, but it's like, again, I resonated with all of them. So yeah. Anyways, that's my rant. I'm done. Sorry if this video has been too long, and I just want to end the video with much love in Moonlight. And again, the biggest advice I can have to this stuff is speak out about it, and don't be afraid of people who are going to be like, oh, you're seeing things and all that, because it's always the people, it's always the conspiracy theorists or whatever in things that point things out before, that dare to think, dare to critically think, dare to be slightly contrarian to the norm, that end up exposing a lot of this stuff going on, you know. And again, I'm not someone who covers this on my channel. Look at my entire channel. I'm not a fucking grifter. So if I see that stupid shit, I will eviscerate you in the comments. I'm just playing. But I might pin to shame someone who says grifting. But it's not about a grift. I want genuinely good storytelling and stories to come back, and not agendas put in. And you can have politics and stuff like that within the world, but just set it within the world and allude to the real world. Don't literally clearly be trying to point something out, like allude to, like, where it almost like breaks the fourth wall in a way. I don't know if I've heard anyone explain that, but hopefully somebody gets that and it makes sense of that. It's almost like some of this stuff that gets injected breaks the fourth wall. Like One Piece. One Piece is amazing. I will always love it as my top one anime, storytelling, everything. Oda is awesome. But Oda alludes to a lot of hidden knowledge, races, things like that, blah, blah, blah. You know, the Marines, the pirates, what they represent alludes to the real world. Hence is why a certain place flew the One Piece flag and it got banned. You see what I'm saying? So, or they tried, but you see that One Piece didn't have to outright almost allude to straight things going on for it to be an inspiring story. And One Piece has all the diversity in it. But anyways, much love. Moonlight. I'm out of here. Peace.